G'day Australia, we're in central Victoria in river and ranges country. And this week we're taking you on a brilliant road trip full of adventure and absolutely magnificent scenery as we take in the shires of Murrindindi, Strathbogie and Mitchell. And the good news is it's just an easy short drive from Melbourne. Our road trip takes us northeast from Melbourne, travelling to Marysville and heading north to Eildon before changing track to Yea. From Yea we make our way to Trawool, onto Tallarook before heading north to Seymour, up to Avenel and Ngambie before driving east to our final destination, Euroa. Epic scenery, outstanding natural beauty, lots of history and down-to-earth hospitality. This is Central Victoria and our Goulburn River and Ranges road trip adventure.
Making our way through the Yarra Valley, we reach the famous Black Spur Drive, a journey on many a people's bucket list. Weaving through some of Victoria's most ancient forests, this area links the valley with the mountain ranges, through ash trees and green ferns, and it's just magnificent any time of year.
Well, this drive is an absolute cracker, not too far out of Melbourne at all. And you go through a township, it looks like an alpine village, and just outside of that, you're then into this almost enchanted forest, these big towering trees, almost the tallest and straightest I've ever seen, and these huge, almost prehistoric looking ancient ferns absolutely everywhere, just hugging the road. It's another world.
Just over an hour's drive from the capital, and you're in the foothills of Melbourne's closest alpine resort and the picturesque village of Marysville.
Marysville is in the Shire of Murrindindi, or Dindi as it's affectionately known, recognised as Melbourne's closest natural playground. If you're looking for a place to relax and unwind, this is where you want to be. National parks, forests, lakes, and of course the magnificent Goulburn River. I reckon you'd be hard pressed to get any closer to nature.
Nearby Lake Mountain, at just over 1,400 metres high, is one of Victoria's most popular ski resorts. However, through the warmer months, the outdoor adventures continue. There's over 50k of bike trails at Lake Mountain, suited for beginners through to the advanced rider, and a trail that runs all the way down to Marysville.
The area in and around Marysville is chock-a-block with beautiful and seemingly never-ending forests, and the air alone is worth the drive out here. So fresh and so clear. Add to that walking trails just like this one that take you through and to some absolutely stunning natural landscapes.
Stevenson Falls is one of Australia's highest waterfalls and Victoria's tallest, with a drop of 84 metres. Just a short 250 metre walk from the car park, viewing platforms provide some sensational views of one of the region's most iconic waterfalls. The falls are part of the extensive Stevenson River system, recognised as one of the best fly fishing spots amongst keen fishermen. We're back on the open road, heading north through small country villages, on our way to our next port of call, the town of Eildon, located on one of the largest man-made lakes in Victoria.
Well, this is my first time to Eildon. I haven't been here that long, but I've worked out quite quickly that this is a very laid-back part of the world. And look at that, obviously absolutely beautiful. Now this is where people come to escape city life and get away from it all and basically put the feet up and do as little as possible. Having said that though, there is still plenty to do.
Lake Eildon is the centrepiece, and it's where the mountains meet the waters. Surrounded by national parks and state forests, this area is spot on for families. The lake has over 500 kilometres of shoreline and holds up to 6 times the amount of water of Sydney Harbour.
Well, what a way to finish day one. Sun on my face and looking out at this big, beautiful lake. Tell you what, I'd be quite happy doing this for the rest of the week. But tomorrow, I reckon it's time to get out on the water. So Baz, tell me your earliest memories of this beautiful spot.
Basically just bringing the kids up and getting out on the wakeboards and the skis and all that sort of stuff, and making them wet and teaching them how to live, really.
How far back though? You've been coming here for how long?
It's got to be 19, 20 years. It's got to be close to that.
So just fun from the get-go?
Pretty much, yeah, 100%. It's the getaway from Melbourne. It's the getaway from everything else, and bring the family up. It's all family oriented.
What's your Lake Eildon moment like? When you just go, this place?
Well, basically like today, just coming out into the elements and and the beauty of it and the nature and just enjoying the lake and the water.
Sad to leave this place, but with lots more to see in the region. With our next stop, the historic town of Yea, where the Goulburn River meets the Yea River.
Well, there is a lot to like about this area. Here's just a few. Amazing food, award-winning wines, a strong arts culture, and there's plenty of beautiful nature trails to make your way through. And Yea, which is such a pretty little town, is surrounded by these charming little hamlets that showcase this historic region beautifully. Also, it's one of the key towns along the Great Victorian Rail Trail.
Nestled in a beautiful valley, Yea was originally a gold mining town and today retains many historical buildings built in the late 1800s.
Well, this station is one of the most significant on the Great Victorian Rail Trail. Built in 1889, the last train departed here in 1978 and today represents the most intact Gothic-style railway station of the late 19th century.
The trail meanders along the Goulburn River, through farmland, and just outside of town is the old Cheviot Tunnel, the only tunnel on the line. Using an estimated 675,000 handmade bricks, the tunnel remains in excellent condition and is popular amongst walkers and cyclists.
Well, back in the car and on the way to Trawall. Now this should be a nice little drive because it follows the Great Victorian Rail Trail and the mighty Goulburn River. And as a handy bonus, the Tallarook Ranges provides a stunning backdrop to my road trip.
There's no township in Trawall, but the district is home to some spectacular countryside and is renowned for its charm and as a place where people can enjoy the great outdoors. Trawall is an area perfect for bushwalking, sightseeing, horse riding and cycling, so there's plenty to do around here.
In 1983, the Trawall Valley was recognised as a scenic, cultural and geological site of significance by the National Trust, and well, it's not hard to see why. I think your taste buds might find it significant as well, with a few vineyards in the area, some wines well worth the taste test, and I'm told some top-notch accommodation around as well.
Day 3, and we carry on our Central Victorian road trip through the Great Dividing Range to the village of Tallarook, the start of the 134-kilometre Great Victorian Rail Trail, the longest in Victoria, which connects this region from Tallarook onto Mansfield. This area of Victoria is home to the Tungarung people, with Tallarook in their Indigenous language meaning call of the wattle birds. The name Tallarook comes from the name of an old pastoral run, originated by Joseph Horden back in 1838, with the run sold off as farms in the mid-1850s, and agriculture is still prominent in the district these days.
There's an old saying here, things is crook in Tallarook, and that was apparently made popular by World War II soldiers during the days of the Great Depression and was the basis for a song by Jack O'Hagan in 1942. Now the saying is still told by locals today apparently, but with a small grammatical update to things are crook in Tallarook. But don't let that put you off. It's still a beautiful little town to visit and a great spot for a meal and a cheeky beer. In fact, the saying should be, Tallarook, well worth a look. Yeah.
In 1982, various scenes were filmed locally for The Man from Snowy River, as well as the 2003 made Ned Kelly film, which starred Heath Ledger, Naomi Watts and Geoffrey Rush. We've made our way to Seymour, a short drive from Tallarook, located on the banks of the Goulburn River. The heritage-listed Seymour station is still operational and connects through to Melbourne, and historic buildings now house cafes and restaurants, with the town also known as a regional hub rich in military and rail history. During the First World War, the Australian Army set up a training camp just east of Seymour, and the region's military heritage has become a major attraction for the town.
In the late 1800s, Australian defence units carried out regular training exercises in and around Seymour, mainly because of the terrain in the area. Puckapunyal, or Pucka, is located just outside of town and is very well known for being one of the best army training camps in the country. You know, you walk the streets of Seymour and there are constant reminders of the area's very strong connection to the military and its long history. So John, you served in Vietnam?
Yes, I did. I served in 1968. I was in Vietnam with a unit called A Squadron 3rd Cavalry Regiment Light Aid Detachment.
How important in your mind is it that we've got installations like this honouring the Australian servicemen and women that served from this area?
I think it's extremely important to help teach the younger generations what their forefathers and that have gone through to give us the country that we've got today, and it's, you know, that's extremely important that we don't lose that history and keep passing it on to future generations, and this is part of the way that we can do it.
Perhaps the standout military attraction is the Vietnam Veterans Commemorative Walk, created in 2013 to honour and symbolise the courageous 60,000 servicemen and women who served and protected Australia during a war where more than 3 million people were killed.
There are 106 panels in the walk, each detailing the names of the Aussie veterans who served in the Vietnam War, a conflict that lasted 2 decades, from 1955 to 1975. Fought between South and North Vietnam, Australia is one of the countries that supported the South, along with the United States, South Korea and Thailand, amongst others. With over 7,500 Aussie servicemen and women deployed to the country, it was our longest war, until it was recently surpassed by Australia's long-term commitment to the war in Afghanistan.
The names of every man, woman and service dog who served in the Vietnam War have been scripted across the panels, with photographs capturing the battles and experiences of those who paid the ultimate price protecting our country. Over a century ago, Seymour was home to Victoria's largest army base. Troops trained on the hills in and around Seymour in the early 1900s, with the camp used as a training, isolation and overflow base during the Great War that broke out in 1914.
Known as Site 17, men of the 8th Light Horse Regiment became soldiers here in Seymour before sadly sacrificing themselves at the disastrous Battle of the Neck in Gallipoli in 1915. Now this brilliant memorial park depicts the history of what life was like for our servicemen and women so many years ago.
The Australian Light Horse Memorial Park covers 150 hectares. And when you wander through the parklands, you'll notice old relics from those days, as well as foundations of the old hospital.
The community's done a brilliant job of telling the real story of where Seymour comes from, and there are plenty of historic tales to tell. Now, remember when I mentioned Ned Kelly earlier? Well, our next destination played a significant role in the bushranger's early life.
We've crossed Shire borders into Strathbogie, and we've landed in the historic township of Avenel, established in 1849 as a stopover point between Melbourne and Albury.
Now, Avenel is well known for a few things. Superb local produce, some of Victoria's most famous wineries, and quirky bed and breakfast just begging to be stayed at. But possibly most famous of all is the fact that Ned Kelly's family lived here during the 1860s.
Bushranger, gang leader, outlaw, convicted murderer and hero. Just some of the titles that come to mind when you mention Ned Kelly. By far the most famous and one of the last bushrangers, Kelly is best known for his bulletproof armour suit, which he wore during his final shootout with police. Avenel is part of the Ned Kelly touring route. It's where the Kelly family lived for 3 years in what turned out to be one of the hardest times of their lives. Initially, Ned was hailed a hero when he rescued young Richard Shelton from drowning in the local Hughes Creek. And as a gesture of appreciation, the family awarded Ned with a foot-long green silk sash, which he later wore at the siege at Glenrowan. However, he is better known as arguably Australia's best-known historical character, whose violent life has been an inspiration for filmmakers, writers and poets. This region is full of history from around the Kelly era, and you're able to follow the Ned Kelly touring route around Avenel and discover highlights of the family's time living in this quaint town. The coach house, the old Royal Mail Hotel, was owned by the Shelton family in the 1860s, whose son was rescued by Ned at Hughes Creek. And it's where Ned's father, John, better known as Red, was laid to rest in the local cemetery in 1866, aged 45.
So we've already touched upon just how good this region is for superb wines and mouth-watering produce, and the Gambie, just 15 minutes drive outside of Avenel, is no exception. Set in amongst pastoral country, it is a very popular holiday spot, just an hour and a half outside of Melbourne, and it boasts some of the best waterways in the state for those of us that love to get out on the water.
Lake Ngambie and the neighbouring Goulburn River make some great fishing and water sports. With waterways that stretch for miles and miles, there's plenty of room for everyone.
Quick quiz, everyone. Do you know who this mighty mare is? Here's a couple of hints. She was the fastest horse in the world and undefeated in all of her 25 races. That's it, well done. It is, of course, the very famous Black Caviar. Affectionately known as Nellie, Black Caviar was born at Gilgo Farm here in Ngambie. And in October of 2013, this incredible life-size bronze statue was created to celebrate the life of one of this country's most beloved horses.
The magnificent Mitchelton Estate is one of Australia's favourite wineries, and it's also a place of cultural pride. The Mitchelton Gallery of Aboriginal Art is an exhibition of some outstanding work and was created to provide an aspiring space for locals and visitors to experience the artworks of Australia's first people.
So Adam, tell me about this absolutely beautiful space you've got here.
Well, it's the biggest commercial Aboriginal art gallery in the world.
What is it about First Nations art that you love? Because in my mind, it's a brilliant representation of stories, and stories that go back tens of thousands of years and done in an absolutely beautiful way, but that's my novice.
Yeah, I mean, the more you learn about Aboriginal art, the more you'll appreciate it.
Mate, you should be very proud of what you've achieved. It looks absolutely incredible.
No, thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
We reach our final stop, Euroa, at the foothills of the Strathbogie Ranges. Located in the heart of Victoria, the town and region is also known as a pioneer of the wool-producing industry and for its historic buildings. The Farmers Arms Hotel was built back in 1876, serving as a hotel for 4 decades, and now houses an impressive collection of Ned Kelly memorabilia, as well as old farm machinery and equipment from the area.
This area was the birthplace of 3 Victoria Cross recipients. The Victoria Cross is, of course, the Australian and British Commonwealth's highest award for acts of bravery during wartime. And these 3 statues commemorate the bravery and memory of those 3 men: Leslie Magar, Frederick Tubb and Alex Burton. Or just an easy 20-minute drive out of town. Look at that view. You can see out over the entire valley, that beautiful mist just rolling over those bright green hills. You can imagine what that'd be like on a clear day. Absolutely beautiful. Well, we're at the top of Mount Wombat, 799 metres above sea level, and it's part of the Strathbogie Tablelands. If you like hiking, or if you just like getting out into nature, this is where you want to be.
One of the most popular spots around here is Polly McQuinn's. Once a natural creek and deep water pool, it is now a weir, making it a popular swimming spot during the warmer months. A decent walk or a 10-minute drive away is Gurrum Falls, west of the Strathbogie Tableland. The falls flow all year round and part of the 7 Creeks water system, which flows from the Strathbogie Ranges. And it's a great spot for a dip and a freshen up if you're trekking through the region.
Well, this is the Shire of Strathbogie, or Bogie, as the locals like to call it. And there's just a little taste of what's on the menu here. Absolutely stunning, rugged countryside. You've got beautiful ranges to the east, and of course the Goulburn River to the south. And you can access it all by Melbourne quite easily by train. If you are looking for a place to just run free and de-stress, well, I reckon this could be the perfect place to do it. It's also, sadly, the perfect place to end our road trip, but what a journey it has been. Wow, folks, you just have to get out here and discover it for yourselves, and it's such an easy drive out of Melbourne. So we've been through the shires of Murrindindi, Mitchell and Strathbogie, and what do we find? Incredible country, plenty to see, do and experience indoors and out, and a seemingly endless array of stories to uncover in this historic region of Victoria, and I reckon it'd be pretty special any time of year. Thanks for watching, thanks for joining us on this road trip. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, and while you pack for your next road trip adventure in Central Victoria, we will see you next time.
Wanna get gone.